Mia and Jake arrive at the cemetery, hoping for a peaceful evening walk. Jake, this place is amazing. Look at those gravestones. Maya? Yeah, but it's getting late. Let's not stay too long. They hear faint whistling carried on the wind. Jake, must be the gravekeeper, even though this place has been abandoned for years. The whistling grows louder and eerier. They spot an elderly man wearing a tattered uniform, sweeping the ground methodically. MIA. Jake, let's go. This doesn't feel right. Jake? Wait, let's ask him for directions. They call out, but the man doesn't respond. As they approach, he vanishes into thin air. Later, at home, they research the cemetery and find a photo of a gravekeeper from the 1930s. The same man they saw. MIA. It's him. The same man we saw. Jake. Legends say he warns visitors of danger. Later that night, they hear faint whistling outside their bedroom window. Jake peers out and sees muddy footprints leading up to their door. Jake. Mia, look at this. Maya. We need to leave. Now. They don't sleep, and by morning the footprints are gone. A team of construction workers begins clearing a forgotten section of a cemetery. They find a crumbling, unmarked stone and a coffin barely covered by dirt. Foreman, excavate and rebury it properly. Nearby residents hear faint, agonized screams. An elderly woman calls the police, but no one is found in the cemetery. Tom, a team member, is assigned to keep watch over the site overnight. He radios the foreman, panicked. Tom, I hear scratching and screaming near the disturbed grave. The radio goes silent. The team arrives in the morning to find Tom gone. His equipment is scattered around the grave, and there are deep scratch marks on the lid of the coffin. Worker 2. Rumors say the grave belonged to someone buried alive centuries ago. Foreman, disturbing their resting place unleashed a vengeful spirit. Dan, an amateur photographer, adjusts his camera, hoping to capture dramatic shots of the decaying tombstones. He notices a pale woman in a tattered wedding dress sitting on a bench near a grave. Ghost bride. Can you take my picture? Dan agrees, but his camera refuses to focus. He looks up to apologize, but she's gone. Later, at home, Dan reviews his photos and gasps. One image shows the bride standing beside her gravestone, her face distorted into a hollow-eyed scream. Dan. This grave belongs to a woman who died in a car crash on her wedding day. Locals say she roams the cemetery, asking visitors to take her picture, hoping someone will bring her peace. Ryan and his friends dare each other to spend a night in the cemetery's largest mausoleum. They hear faint tapping, which they dismiss as the old structure settling. The tapping turns to scratching. Mark suddenly yells, claiming he feels icy hands gripping his ankles. Mark, panicked. Something's got me! The group panics and flees, leaving their belongings behind. Ryan's flashlight is found outside the mausoleum, its batteries drained. Fresh flowers are on the grave just outside the mausoleum. Ryan, confused. These flowers weren't here last night. The grave belongs to Jonathan Blackwell, the last of the family, who was rumored to have died violently, and whose spirit is said to haunt the mausoleum. Sam, a night security guard, hears faint laughter drifting through the air. He follows the sound to the children's section. He sees tiny handprints in the dew on the gravestones and feels a sudden drop in temperature. Terrified, Sam hurries back to his guardhouse. Reviewing the security footage, he sees faint, glowing shapes darting among the gravestones. Convinced the children's spirits were playing in the cemetery, Sam quits the next morning. Locals later tell him the children buried there died in a tragic school fire, and their laughter is often heard on the anniversary of the event.